Namaste. Welcome to another episode of Logistically Speaking. We have a very special guest joining us today, and he is very well known in the shipping industry. And let me introduce and welcome Mr. Pradhan for this episode of Logistically Speaking. Mr. Pradhan is the president of iCargo and also the group chairman of CP World, and he is also the president of Consolidators Association of India. So thank you, Mr. Pradhan. Thank you for joining Logistically Speaking series, and we are very glad to have you on board for this particular series. And I'm sure the audience will be eager to hear from you on your valuable insights about the industry and also about your organization.
Thanks a lot, Jiss. It's been a great pleasure here being with you. I hope the audience like this interview and is of help to them. I wish you all the best for your new series, and I hope it continues for years together. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Pradhan. So let's get into the show. So, Mr. Pradhan, given the current situation of the pandemic, how important is collaboration between organizations, especially in shipping?
I don't know why you're talking about pandemic as such, but I'm a firm believer that nobody is perfect to do everything correct or right on his own. We need help of others, and it is very important that the organizations collaborate to add value to their products or services. And if you talk about shipping in particular, the feeder operations that these shipping lines do, the agreements on consortium what these shipping lines have, or if we get on to the co-loaders, consolidators, the co-loads that we do is nothing but collaboration. It may be a loose term, but it really makes sense. So I would say, whether pandemic or no pandemic, collaboration adds value to your services and products, and we must do it. You can take simple examples outside the industry, like Ola, Uber, Airbnb. They are working so fine with collaboration, and I don't see any reason why collaborations should not be done.
Yeah, that's right. You gave a real valuable insight to that particular question. Thank you. Have you had to make any difficult decisions during this time?
Good question. In this pandemic, every business owner, be it in shipping or any other industry, he would have had to take some decisions which are against his wish, which are bitter, but yes, that's the way to survive. If I go back, we were a bit lucky because of our tie-ups with China. We have been in constant touch with our Chinese partners, and we have been talking of how we should deal with it, because we were told that this is going to be a global phenomenon and everybody will have to go through it. We never knew that this is going to hit us so hard, so fast, and for such a long time. However, when we actually went into a lockdown, we realized that the preparations that we had done are not good enough. We realized that we have to do something different if we have to survive. To be honest, for a couple of days I was in an absolute shock. I did not know how to respond, what to do, and what is it that can bring us out of this difficult situation. However, I have been meditating for a long time, and when I gathered composure after a couple of days, I sat calmly, meditated, and then I thought, what can bring us out of this situation? That was the time two things came into my mind. One was, how do I get my dates? My daters, how are they going to pay me? Two is, if I have to go through this time successfully, then I have to cut my cost. So the first thing what I did was, we immediately stopped clean credits. That means if there's nothing in pipeline, we stopped the shipments of those customers and recovered our money. It was a very unpleasant decision, which was not liked by our sales staff, but we still executed it, and we had some unsatisfied customers. But as I see back, I mean, that was a good decision and most of the people followed it. Two was, how do we cut down the cost? That was also very important. One, we gave up our office in Fort, which was used for releasing bills of ladings and delivery orders. We gave up one of our back office and made people work from home. Two is, though we did not cut down on our staff, because realizing the situation, we did not want to be harsh with the staff. We proposed a temporary reduction in the salaries. And fortunately, our team, supported us wholeheartedly, and we could manage it. Luckily today, as I see, we are back to our pre-COVID salaries, and everything is hunky-dory.
Oh, that's great. And I would say your personal discipline also helped in bringing a discipline to the organization.
Yes.
And strategize it properly. Okay, great. When it comes to government intervention and support, what was expected and what according to you is missing?
A very good question. This in fact was asked by many of our partners abroad, and my answer was very simple. In many countries, the government supported the businesses by paying substantial part of the salaries to the employees, or coming up with interest waivers on the loans that the businesses had taken. Some of the ports agreed to give waivers on the ground rents and detentions and whatever the lines agreed, and many other things. When it comes to our government, as I see the situation of our country, the financial situation in particular, our country has so many poor people, and the government's first aim has to be to take care of the poor people who are below the poverty line, and that's a huge number. So that is what our government did, and that I think is the right thing which the government should have done. If I was in a decision-making situation, I would have done the same. And lastly, I do not expect the government to support my business. Why should they? I mean, they have given us enough. They have to do something for the downtrodden people to bring their lives to a better position, and that is what our government should do.
So basically, the support from the government is apt, as per your side.
I would say yes.
Okay. How has your organization recalibrated? Are there any fundamental changes being made with regard to your business, and how it will be conducted in the future?
Honestly, we haven't done too many changes. The only change that we did, and which not only today but which was planned for a very long time, that we wanted to be capable that all our staff except for sales and operations, they should be able to work from wherever they are. And with this pandemic, this was more so. And that is what we encourage our staff to work from home. That saves a lot of time and money for them. At the same time, when we look back at the last 6 months, the way these teams have performed, the way these teams, have used their time, I'm very, very happy about it. I really thank my team from all locations, from the bottom of my heart, that they have done a wonderful job, and I would love to continue with it till the time my people, my team members are comfortable with it.
So it's like you are well prepared, and this is actually the continuation of your preparation which is going.
Yes.
Okay, that's good. Has the customer expectation changed? And if so, how are you managing them?
Just talking about the expectations of the customer in any industry, they want and expect more than what we give. And it is the same for our business too. However, during this pandemic, if you are talking of, what we had to do was to go an extra mile. Some of the customers had problems sending their staff for releasing PLs or issuing delivery orders. Some of the people asked for extra free days and yes, we obliged them wherever we could. For some of the customers, we delivered the bills of ladings to their offices or even couriered it directly to their customers or whatever we could do. We also made arrangements to issue the bills of ladings or delivery orders at the CFS, which was very, very convenient for them. So this is what we tried to do. Of course, if you talk about the expectations of credits, we were not able to fulfill. But that was totally beyond our control. We had no way to extend credits because all of a sudden the shipping lines, they came up with reducing our credits. So we had to in turn, act accordingly. So wherever possible, we did it. The other thing was, there are so many problems in the CFS, like for shortage of labor, shortage of forklifts. We had prepared ourselves with our own labor, own forklift at our cost. And that was what the customers highly appreciated. And that is where we got some additional support from them. And after all, what do you want? You need more business, and that's it. That's what we got. So I'm very happy about it.
And you expect also this kind of new normal, which is going to continue also.
I think so, and should be.
What does the future look like? And what technologies do you see being adopted?
I think the future is bright. And let me tell you, I'm a very, very optimistic person. I don't give up till the last moment. So for me, I always believe that there's a lot more better in store for all of us. And I work towards it. And I encourage every business owner to have the same feeling and work hard towards it. So that is what, unless we have a positive mindset, we can never progress. Of course, I'm not saying that people should only think positive, but your every action has to be positive in that direction, and I'm 100% sure the success will be yours. If you talk about the new technologies, first is I would talk about this digital transformation that people are talking of. People think going on social media, having a fantastic website, or doing social media marketing is digital transformation. I beg to differ on it. I'm not saying that this is not digital transformation. Yes, these are parts of digital transformation. But unless and until you have a clear understanding of what is digital transformation, unless you are adding value to your customers, unless you are working on certain things which brings down your cost of operation drastically, cost of back office or services drastically, unless you are in a position to increase your productivity, and the last but not the least, unless you are able to increase the profitability by doing all these things, I don't think that we are actually digitally transforming. We are just getting into parts, bits and pieces of the digital transformation process, and every business owner should look at this and ensure that these 4 criteria are looked upon when we talk of the digital transformation. The other thing is, you asked about the technologies being used. I am not an expert, so I would not like to go into too much of detail about it, but as I see the blockchain technology, as I see the chat box, the API integrations, the artificial intelligence, these have already been started to be used in some of the industries. And I think in the coming 2 to 3 years, these will be the new normals in our industry. And all of us will be probably using these technologies to do our business and grow.
And these days you also hear about a lot of online portals coming up for booking, freight forwarding, something like Amazon in that particular segment. Do you really see this kind of things will come up in future for freight forwarding, consolidation or shipping?
Yes, I think, everything has to change. We have been doing this business in the same manner for years. There is definitely going to be some change. Like today, Maersk Line, they announced a LCL service. I do not know what they are doing today, but they have offered a service. So if they have offered, and with the technology that they have, I'm 100% sure they will make use of these technologies to grow in this, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think that will also result in many other consolidators adopting to this new kind of ways of doing business.
If we really want to progress, if we really want to be in line with the competition, we will have to use it.
Yeah. Have you enjoyed working from home? Do you think work from home is the future, or this is just a transitional trend?
To answer your first question, I really enjoyed working from home. I love it. I have never got so much time with my family members. I stay with my father, mother, my wife. My son is not with us, he is in Dubai. But this 7 months, I would say, have been the best months of my life. I have been more productive and more busy during these days. I get lots of time to plan about the strategies, to plan about the processes, and to plan about the business development. And that is what I think as a business owner, all of us should be doing. But we get engrossed into small little things in the office, day-to-day work. I wouldn't say small little, but day-to-day work in the office. That takes a lot of our time. But working from home, you are working without being disturbed by any of your staff members. So that's a very good thing. In my personal opinion, I would encourage my staff to work from home as much as possible. They have really done their best in terms of service levels, in terms of their responses and everything. So it is all the more good that they should be working from home wherever possible. If you talk about others, I really do not know what their thinking is. But having tested the benefits of working from home in the last 6 to 7 months, I think many business owners would love to have this kind of thing that helps them to reduce their cost of having a big office, maintenance, and all those things, travel time, and things like that. And if you see, our connection, our interaction with the staff, with our network partners, and with our customers has been much more better during these times. You know, when we are at home and on Zoom, this is much more better these days than we had it earlier. So I would definitely propagate working from home as a new norm.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Like I always hear, like the small little things, those are the major hindrance for many of the business owners to really progress.
Yes.
So in a way, like you can avoid this kind of small disturbances, which can help you to do some bigger things.
Yes, of course.
What are the personal lessons you have learned during this time?
जान है तो जहाँ है. That means if you have life, you have the word. You know, it is very, very important. You know, I have been reading about spiritual development for quite some time. However, I got the opportunity to read more during this period. You know, I got a lot of time for myself. And one thing came out is you have to care for your life and you have to care for others' life too. I was never selfish, but this learnings, this readings during this period taught me one thing, you know, and that is I started being more bothered or more caring about others. You know, that was a very big learning for me during this time. And to be honest, the more you care for others, the more you start giving, you know, the more happy you feel. And that is what I have felt myself. So I'm very, very happy about this period that I have been working home, and I have been able to give time for myself. This has been very, very enlightening for me.
So in a way, you have grown more spiritually also during this period, in a way.
I really do not know whether I have grown, but I'm definitely trying to grow.
So Mr. Pradhan, can you please share a few of your favorite things? First, maybe a favorite quote.
Favorite quote? Well, there are many, but the most apt for today's situation, I would say. That's by Charles Darwin. He goes to say, it is not the strongest of the people or the species that would survive. It is not the most intelligent ones that would survive. The species who would survive are the most adaptable to the changing situation.
Yeah, absolutely. That's
So this is like much more apt to today's situation.
True.
So we have to be adaptable, and that is what I really like.
Oh, that's great. And your favorite book?
My favorite book. To be honest, I love to read about biographies, and I have read many. But overall, if you see, all our learnings from childhood till now, if you take any book, most of the things are what you already know of. You know a lot of things. You are learning over the years. But I'm definite that every book has some content, maybe 5, 6, 10 pages, that really change your life. So it is important for everyone to keep reading on the matters or the subjects that they find it interesting, so they can be good at that. However, having read so many biographies, I myself would like to tell certain things about it. I have made 5 heroes of my life.
Oh, that's nice.
And why, I will explain to you later. My heroes are Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj, Karna from Mahabharata, Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose, and Lokmanya Tilak. Why I have made these heroes is to take care of my stress, to take care of my problems. When I have read their autobiographies or anything related to their characters, whenever I have a problem, I throw my problem to my heroes. If I have this problem, if I am being betrayed, I throw a problem to Sambhaji Maharaj. How he will react to it. And then I come to know that my betrayal is a very small little thing. My problem, instead of getting magnified, it becomes so small. And then I'm able to think logically. And then I find a solution very easily. Because the moment you start thinking logically, you find a solution to your problem. Because every answer is in understanding your problem better. And once your problem is small, then you understand it much better. And that's the reason I do it like that. I haven't been able to practice it in a way that I would love to. I have to still read a lot about my heroes, and when I read about them more, I will be able to hone up my skills to that extent. And I think that would definitely help me out.
So basically, you adopted a lot of the learnings and implemented it in your life also.
To be honest, I did not adapt the learning. I'm too small to adapt the learnings of these great people, or I'm too small to imitate also. What I have done is that I have tried to see what would be the effect of those things on my heroes. Are these problems which I go through day in and day out, are they so big that we can't find a solution? So if they can find or have tackled such issues in the past, it is very, very easy the way they have done it. Why can't I tackle a small problem? So I'm trying to seek a solution from the readings I have, the way they have strategized, the way they have gone ahead, the way they have countered their problems. So even a percentage of it, can definitely help me to take care of my problems.
Oh, that's great. And I know you are a person who travels around the world, maybe like so many days in a year you are traveling. Maybe you can mention one of your favorite destination which you travel.
I have traveled a lot, but my favorite destination is in India. You know, the most I love, and which I have been doing for the last 5 years, I go to Uttaranchal every year, and I love going to Badrinath temple and Kedarnath temple. These are my most loved places, you know, from the whole of the world I have traveled. And I really get serene pleasure, serene happiness from these places, and I love it. It recharges me.
Energizes.
Yes. And so I make it a point that at least once in a year I go there. This year I could not make it because of this pandemic. Let's see how I can do it next year or later part of this year. But it would be definitely to-do list in my bucket.
That's great. And I hope you'll get a chance to do that.
Yes, I would.
And what's your favorite food?
I love food. I am a foodie, and I love and try each and every local food at that local place. You know, I love it. But one thing uncomparable is the cook, which is my mother. You know, she cooks so delicious food that I find that the best food.
And that's always a superior one for you. Yeah, that's true. Good. I don't know whether you are much into movies, but what's your favorite movie?
I am definitely not a movie buff. I don't spend time on movies. It's not that I don't like, but I prefer to do something else. But I would definitely talk about two movies. One was Jab We Met, and the other one was Three Idiots. Basically, you know, they are talking about doing things, what comes to their mind or heart, you know. Just do it and have a ball. And that is what I love, that attitude of the characters. If you ask me who are the characters, I'm not the right one to answer, because I take movies as, you know, entertainment, not putting too much of brains into it. But I love such type of things. And even in those movies, if you see, they have shown mountains and things like that, which are of interest to me.
That's great. Anyway, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Pradhan. It was really wonderful to have a good conversation with you. I can find like you are a man full of energy and of course a lot of ideas, strategies, everything. And I'm sure our audience will be glad to hear. I mean, they are all this life experience coming out of one of the veterans of the shipping industry. Thank you very much. Thank you for joining us in this episode of Logistically Speaking.
Thanks, Jiss. And a namaste to all the audience.
Thank you very much.